joining What I've Been Thinking with Marcus Cage. I'm your host, Marcus Cage. I have a whole lot of thoughts that I would like to get into, but it's short notice, and I wanted to get into one specific topic, which is urgent, but it's not more important than a lot of the other topics, which I plan to get to later on in the week and into next week in future shows. What I want to talk about with you tonight is the 2020 primaries, which are coming up, the November primaries, and some of the things which I think that you should look out for, watch for, to expect for in this primary, which is coming up tomorrow night. So far, I guess we'll start off with the candidates that have made all the qualifications for the debate. Of course, we have the front runners, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg. We have Kamala Harris, Tom Steyer, Cory Booker, Amy Klobuchar, and I'm forgetting one person, but if I'm forgetting them, obviously they're not that. Oh, I'm sorry, Tulsi Gabbard. She is important. So Tulsi Gabbard is that 10th person. Well, and I forgot Andrew Yang. So hopefully I got everybody in there. Double check, Google it. If you guys don't know who's in there, you should be. So shame on you also if I did forget somebody and you guys missed them. So the things that I think that we should all look for. Elizabeth Warren, who has gotten very favorable coverage in mainstream media, has released a couple of plans from the last couple of debates. Expect for her to be attacked from all different angles, except for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders will do his best to try to be completely hands-off with Elizabeth Warren. And it's for one simple strategy. In the last time that he ran against Hillary Clinton, the biggest thing that he caught flack over was his attacks and going too harsh against Hillary Clinton. And that's what he wants to avoid. He doesn't want to get the label of sexism at any cost. So for those Bernie supporters like myself who are frustrated that he won't go more aggressive on Elizabeth Warren, who's basically copying off of his class as if we're in high school civics. She's basically just cheating. She's taking his plans, rewriting them in a watered down, lame version, and then showing up and presenting it as if she has a plan. Those of us who follow this a little bit more closely and have no real lives like some of you guys out there, we notice this and spot this, and that's what we're here for, to point out these things and to show you guys which things you should actually pay attention to and point a spotlight on. If you're not one of the political junkies like myself and some of those of you out there who might be watching. Something I also like for you guys to pay attention to and watch for in this one. In the last time around, Tulsi Gabbard was aiming for Elizabeth Warren, trying to question her qualifications as far as foreign policy and stances on military actions that we have going on around the world. That was cut off by the moderators, but expect this time around, she would have spent enough time with their team finding a way to work this in a way which they can't dismiss as easy. So I expect for her to level a pretty tough attack towards Elizabeth Warren. Now, it's just a matter of how Elizabeth Warren is able to will out of that, or if the moderators are able to deflect in a way which is able to make the attack a mute. But expect that attack is coming at some point. Another person who you should definitely look at to attack Elizabeth Warren. Pete Buttigieg. Now that she's come out with this new Medicare phase-in option to Medicare for All plan, which is basically a private option. It is almost line for line the same healthcare plan which Pete Buttigieg is advocating for. So the fact that she's basically taken his plan also while pretending she's partially for Bernie's plan so that she doesn't offend too many voters on the more left side, or people who tend to be a little bit more typical liberal, moderate, Democratic. But that's what she's doing. If you look back through a history of Elizabeth Warren, you can look back to one continuing thread, which I see personally. Some people could say the Native American thing was a one-off. They can say when she says she was dismissed because of the childbirth thing, and then there's videos that she was pregnant, and then there's videos where she's saying that she didn't have the qualifications, where she was a Republican and fought for all kind of different Republican policies. And when she was in corporate America, she was perfectly fine with doing a litany of unethical things throughout corporate America, which we all would have a problem with. But I digress off that point. She turned a new leaf. She saw the error of her ways. And so she decided, you know what? I'm going to get in and I'm going to start helping those consumers and helping the average people. So she decides to switch over. She fights for the consumer agency. But after that point, when she has gotten to Congress, she has not fought for anything meaningful since she has been there elected. Now, going back to the last election cycle, when Bernie Sanders was begging Elizabeth Warren to run, basically saying he will give her policy ideas, he'll work with her in every type of way to help get her there. She did not choose to jump in. In fact, she chose to side and back and help Hillary behind his back. I believe all of these attacks, which the backroom deals which she's done with the Hillary Clinton campaign up till now, also the stealing of a lot of Bernie's plans, the stealing of Buttigieg's plan, the stealing of Beto O'Rourke's plans when he was in, and even trying to go as far as taking some of Julian Castro's policy points. If you really look closely into Warren, she has a lot of vulnerabilities, and I imagine that it's only a matter of time before they start really eating her up. Buttigieg is going to be able to really chip into that, and I think he is going to go after her because a lot of his base of voters are the same Elizabeth Warren voters. So I believe that she's going to be his number one target, and I think he's going to be successful. But that doesn't mean Buttigieg is going to be off the hook. His comeuppance will come soon enough. Right now, Elizabeth Warren is exposed in so many different ways that she's going to have to be targeted by multiple different people. Not to mention an Amy Klobuchar, which I do not like and have very much respect for. She is going to go after her, and she's going to have very sharp and harsh criticisms. So those are some of the key things that I think you should look for. I would like for Yang to actually be pressed about his backing Medicare for All's name, but not actually supporting the actual legislation and him running his campaign ads on that. That's one thing which I would like to see get addressed, but I guarantee you it's not. As for Bernie, I think Bernie, for the most part, is going to give, I want to say, more of the consistent consistent performance that we're used to seeing, but I think he's going to kind of give us more of a warm-hearted approach versus his normal just arguing on policy. I think he's going to try to, reach out, try to give more of an emotional appeal. Let's see. Cory Booker. Cory Booker, I think, is going to do absolutely nothing. I think he is going to waste everybody's time, every moment that he's speaking. Enough about Cory Booker. Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer, the big billionaire who basically spent a bunch of money tricking people into getting him enough signatures to even get in the race, is going to waste a bunch of time on TV arguing pseudo progressive points and maybe convincing some people, but not really going to move the needle. And ultimately, he's just going to spend a ton of money. The two new entrances, which we have in the 2020 field, Deval Patrick and Michael Bloomberg, they will not make the debate stage, of course, because it's too late. But I don't see Deval Patrick making the debate stage at virtually any point. If he does, I think it's going to be close. Bloomberg has enough money, so yeah, he'll be on the stage. But by the time Iowa caucus comes around, Bloomberg's going to be long gone. Who else am I forgetting to talk about? Let's see. I've spoken about Andrew Yang as much as I want to go into Andrew Yang, because I believe that for the most part, he's only going to talk about UBI, which we get the gist of his UBI, and either you support it or you don't support it, in which I do support UBI overall. I just don't support the way Andrew Yang decides to do his UBI. And on another video later on, I'll get into all my ins and outs and agreements and disagreements on UBI versus Yang's freedom dividend. Let's see. Oh, yes. Forgot about Mr. Joe Biden. Joe Biden is going to have all of those highly paid analysts that he has around him and consultants figuring out every way to hit Elizabeth Warren. The thing about Joe Biden is, for him, this isn't like Bernie where I have to worry about sensibility of this person and not disrespect that person. And Joe Biden is going to say whatever Joe Biden feels like saying, and he's not going to be afraid of whose feelings he hurts. So if he feels like his opponent is in his way, then he is going to say whatever he needs to. So Elizabeth Warren, I believe, is definitely going to have to watch out for Joe Biden also. That's about all I have for my high points, which I expect to happen or expect to watch out for as far as the debate coming tomorrow night. Right now, I'm in the process of a bunch of big things. Definitely expect some videos coming soon. And